Yo, what's up everyone? We are back for Hope You're Happy Lemon chapter 81, and yeah, we're just gonna hop straight into it. In the last few chapters, Lemon has been getting more cognizant of her feelings towards Sunao. What we've been seeing from Lemon's character is that even though she feels this way, she really doesn't want to jeopardize Sunao's chances with Kogahara at this point in time, but now Sunao has fallen in love with Kogahara, and he's trying to make that relationship work, but she's at the point where she can't really ignore her feelings anymore. Basically, she's just in a really tough situation, trying to choose between, love and her friends. And yeah, we're basically just getting more of that this chapter. Right off the last chapter, Sunao came down with a cold, and he was gonna get his friend to bring him some medicine. He accidentally texted Lemon, and Lemon came over to help him. This chapter, Lemon is now leaving Sunao's place, and right as she's about to leave, she goes and says, "You know, the other day, when we were leaving work, remember how I told you that you didn't have to wait for me, and you could head out early and everything?" And then Sunao goes and says, "Yeah." Right after, Lemon says, "Sorry, can I take that all back?" This gets Sunao a little confused. He's like, "Huh, take that all back? What do you mean by that?" And Lemon says, "What I'm saying is, when you're ready to go, can you wait for me? Let's walk home together." And then she goes and says, "Is it too late to change my mind?" This gets Sunao to go say, "Oh, whoa, what's all the change of heart for?" And of course, Lemon is like, it's not really a change of heart. She's kind of being secretive in this moment. Basically, what she's doing is she's showing her resolve, I'm guessing, to get back with Sunao. At the very end of the last chapter, it looks like she made up her mind, made a decision on how she was gonna proceed forward with the relationship. This chapter seems to be a confirmation of what is to come, right? It's clear that Lemon wants to get back with Sunao, and that she's going to try her best to do so. Lemon and Sunao had this heart-to-heart back when Lemon kind of revealed the truth on what happened back when they broke up. And Sunao goes and says, "You can cause me all the trouble you want. I don't mind when it's you." For Sunao, his mentality going into this was, hey, we need to still be friends, or I want us to still be friends because we have such a good dynamic going on. In his character, there might be a little hint of residual feelings, but for the most part, he just wants to stay friends with Lemon. Lemon was just one of his closest friends back in the day, and he just doesn't want that relationship to change. Even though they broke up, there was like tension between them. For Lemon, it does seem a little bit different. It seems that she still has feelings for Sunao. She can't get over what she did in the past, and she wants to kind of rekindle that bond that they had. The only issue standing in the way is Kogahara at this point in time. Lemon is the female lead of the series, so of course they're probably gonna get together. I just hope personally this doesn't happen right now. I hope this happens down the line, because what we've really been setting up in these, I wouldn't say that we're still in like the prologue of the series or the beginning parts of the series, but I would say, hey, at this point in time, Sunao really likes Kogahara. He really wants that relationship to work out. So personally, I want to see that relationship work out, and then we go from there, right? I'd rather not have a situation where, Sunao is about to get with Kogahara and Lemon just butts in the way, guilt trips Sunao or something like that, because that's the only way I can see them getting together earlier on in the story. That being said, cutting back to the actual chapter, Sunao is wondering to himself, oh, so is everything fine now? I wonder if I said anything weird. If I keep overthinking, my fever might come back. Because of this whole situation with Lemon still having feelings for Sunao, she's been acting a little more distant towards him. And because of this, Sunao kind of thinks that, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? But in reality, he didn't. It's just Lemon kind of acting weird. But this is like the first time in the past few chapters that she's been acting more normal towards him, right? The rest of the chapter is basically a cut to after Lemon and Sunao had worked together, and they're walking home. During this time, they're just making a little bit of small talk. Sunao is thinking to himself, oh, I should probably tell Kogahara that everything between me and Lemon is fine now. She's been acting more normal towards me. But one thing that he does emphasize here is he says, I gotta make sure she doesn't get the wrong idea. I need to make it crystal clear that this isn't anything romantic. When he says this, I'm thinking that he's saying, oh, I want to tell Kogahara that, me and Lemon are on good terms now. But he also wants to tell her we're not anything more than just friends, right? Because as I said before, Sunao does want to get together with Kogahara. So he just wants to reassure her that him and her roommate are on good terms, but he doesn't have any romantic feelings towards her. This is solidifying Sunao's resolve. Before, I was a little more on the fence of what was going to happen with this character. I knew that, hey, he had feelings for Kogahara, but I didn't know how concrete they were when it came to Lemon being in the mix, especially when she is being more upfront and forward with her feelings. I thought personally we're gonna have an easier time of Lemon just coming back into the story and Kogahara getting shafted, but this chapter kind of confirms that's not going to happen, even though Lemon has steeled her resolve. In the case that that doesn't happen and Kogahara doesn't get together with Sunao, you know, I guess that's just a disappointment, but the series is being set up right now where it seems Lemon is going to get rejected if she, you know, tries to make any advances on Sunao. But yeah, even though I'm saying that, their conversation continues and Lemon brings up something about books, right? She turns the conversation into books and she's saying that, oh, there's some books that I want to get. There's like a book fair or a book festival that happens every year and books are on like a fire sale. They're on a bargain. And then she's saying, oh, I really want to go to it. Do you want to go to this thing with me, Sunao? Sunao goes and says, yeah, let's do it. That sounds fun. This fair is on the weekend and Sunao's free both days. And he says, oh, let's just go on Saturday because we're going to be in our regular bodies that day. And yeah, they basically make plans to go to this book festival fair. I think in this case, Sunao said yes, like he'll go because, you know, he wants to still be friends with Lemon. In the series, what we've seen is he has really two friends. He has Curry and then he has Lemon, right? And he's been trying to get closer with Lemon. He's been trying to, you know, mend their friendship. And I think this is a way of him doing that. The only thing that happens is when he gets home, he realizes, oh, wait, isn't this kind of like a date? You know, he's still being hopeful, wishful. He's thinking not in a more mischievous sense. And he's just thinking to himself, oh, she invited me as a friend. You know, reading into it more, that'd just be wrong. Even though he says that he shouldn't be overthinking it, he ends up overthinking it. And then we cut to Lemon. She's back at her place and she's thinking, oh yes, I did it. I actually asked him out on a date. We see Lemon's nervousness, but also a sense of accomplishment here. To her, she's a little embarrassed, but I think she's hopeful, wishful. It's just a lot of feelings going through Lemon right now. Honestly, the way that the story was going, something like this was going to occur. Lemon did want to become more than friends with Sunao yet again. Personally, I think that either nothing is going to come out of this situation, like it's just going to stay like super platonic, or Lemon is going to try to further the agenda and then she gets shut down. I don't think at this point in the story, Lemon is going to be able to get together with Sunao. This series isn't like a super comedic harem type, you know, series. So I think personally there's going to be a little bit more drama, a little bit more tension, a little bit more concreteness in the storylines. That being said, anything can happen. But right now, I do feel a little bad for Sunao because he is trying his hardest to make this new relationship work. And it almost seems like Lemon is tricking him in a way. You know, she did say, oh, I just want to be friends. Let's be friends together. And pushing that kind of narrative onto Sunao so that he can be more receptive to it. Because before he was like, oh, maybe Lemon just doesn't want anything to do with me anymore. But then she's saying all these things of like, oh, let's still be friends. So then that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to be friends with Lemon, be nice to her and whatever. But it seems like Lemon has other plans that she's just not telling him or not being super upfront about. It's kind of just a situation where they have two different mindsets going into their activities or interactions together. And I think those are going to be made clear soon enough. You know, Lemon does know Sunao's side of the story as of now, but even still, she's doing something a little selfish, right? You know, it's fair game for her. At this point in time, Sunao is not together with Kogahara, so there's nothing wrong inherently on what she's doing. The only thing is that she does know what Sunao's goals are. But the thing is that she doesn't know Kogahara's feelings towards Sunao. I think if she knew that, her mentality would change a little bit, right? I think that once Lemon figures out that Kogahara also has feelings for Sunao, that's kind of gonna be the nail in the coffin for her for a little bit, because the last thing she wants to do is tear apart all of the, you know, relationships that she has going on right now. And what she's doing now is kind of the surefire way for her to ruin everything that's kind of going on in her life. So we'll see what goes on. We'll see what happens. Hope you're happy, Lemon. Always a good series, always a good read. Honestly, I think it's one of the best romances out right now. It's nothing crazy. It's no like super sexualized stuff that's going on. Just a simple romance, but just not too basic like a fragrant flower blooms with dignity. I don't know, bro. I read it. It's just not for me. But yeah, if you guys want to see me cover it, I can. You know, I'm mostly caught up with it. It's just, to me, it's a little too happy-go-lucky. I mean, it's not happy-go-lucky, but it's just a little too basic for me. But yeah, with that being said, if you like this video, definitely make sure to like it so I know to keep making this type of stuff. And if you want to stay up to date or check out any of my other content that I make, definitely subscribe. And yeah, that's about it. So I'll see y'all.
I run away to the end of the world with you. I'm not afraid.